My child, my beloved, become still for a moment and listen with your whole heart. Because your presence here right now is not random. Something hidden has been moving around your life in silence, unfolding carefully, steadily, and with a purpose you could not fully see at first. What you are about to receive is not sent to frighten you, but to awaken you. There are times when heaven speaks in whispers, and there are times when ignoring the quiet becomes dangerous. This is one of those moments where listening may change the direction of everything. My child, my beloved, before your thoughts run ahead, before doubt rises to argue with what your spirit already senses, stay here with me. Do not turn away. Do not distract yourself. Some warnings arrive covered in confusion, but others come wrapped in mercy because there is still time to be protected. This message is reaching you because protection has not been withdrawn. If these words have found you now, the door has not yet shut. My child, my beloved, many people only recognize danger after it has already taken something precious from them. They look back and say, I should have paid attention, or I felt something was wrong, but I pushed it aside. But you are not being brought here to regret later. You are being called to understand now. Heaven does not raise an urgent sound without a reason. When Archangel Michael speaks with urgency, it is because the timing has become serious. My child, my beloved, there is a movement taking place in your life that did not begin today. It started quietly some time ago, perhaps weeks back, perhaps even months ago, hidden beneath coincidences, delays, and growing confusion. You may have called it stress. You may have blamed exhaustion. You may have believed it would fade if you simply waited long enough. But what you were feeling was not ordinary pressure alone. Your spirit was sensing a shift before your eyes were able to recognize it. My child, my beloved, this is why I need you to remain until the end. Not for curiosity, but because clarity is being given piece by piece. Many walk away too soon and miss the very instruction that could have changed what happened next. What is approaching you is not beyond stopping, but it is near enough that ignoring this moment would take away the advantage you still have. My child, my beloved, if you feel a strange weight in your chest as you listen, do not mistake it for fear. It is recognition. Your spirit knows when truth is drawing close. There is a reason you were shielded before. There is a reason certain plans collapsed. There is a reason some doors closed in a way that hurt you deeply. Those moments were not simple losses. They were divine delays, holding you back so you could be preserved for this exact warning. My child, my beloved, before I go any further, there is something important I must ask you. Are you willing to listen fully, even if the message challenges what you expected? Many blessings are missed not because people are unworthy, but because they only accept messages that sound comfortable. This message carries protection, but protection often requires awareness first. My child, my beloved, if you want to continue receiving guidance like this, guidance that is meant to guard your path and sharpen your discernment, stay connected. Do not treat spiritual warnings casually. The people who remain aligned are the ones who stay attentive when the message becomes serious. My child, my beloved, there is a chain reaction forming around you. One decision, one conversation, one place, one delay. Everything is connected. What looks like a small moment ahead carries consequences far larger than you realize. That is why Archangel Michael has stepped forward now. Not later, not after damage, but before impact. My child, my beloved, some tragedies do not arrive as sudden disasters. They arrived as misunderstandings, as trust placed in the wrong direction, as silence when something should have been questioned, as moving forward when a pause was required. This is why you are being asked to slow down right now and see what you were about to miss. My child, my beloved, there is someone around you who does not intend harm consciously, yet their actions are opening a door that should never have been opened. And there is another influence unseen waiting for that opening. This is not about blaming people. This is about recognizing patterns before they complete themselves. My child, my beloved, you may be wondering why this feels so specific, why this message feels like it is speaking directly to you. That is because it is. Warnings do not go to crowds. They go to individuals who still have time to choose differently. My child, my beloved, if you had ignored this moment, the signs would still appear later, but they would arrive louder, harsh, and with consequences already attached. Right now, you are being given the gentlest form of intervention, awareness before action. My child, my beloved, there is still a way to stop what is forming, but stopping it does not mean fighting. It means recognizing what must not continue. It means withdrawing energy from something that no longer deserves access to your life. My child, my beloved, do not assume this warning means everything will fall apart. Quite the opposite. Many times, heaven warns because something precious is meant to be preserved. You are being guarded not because you are weak, but because what you carry matters more than you know. My child, my beloved, stay with me. The next part will reveal exactly what must be noticed, what must be avoided, and what must be chosen differently. Not in fear, but in wisdom. Beloved soul listening now, what approaches you is not random chaos, and it is not punishment. It is a turning point that demands awareness. When danger moves quietly, it often disguises itself as normal routine, familiar faces, or comfortable habits. That is why this moment matters so deeply. What do you fail to notice now will demand your attention later in a far harsher way. Heaven intervenes early only when prevention is still possible. And this message arrives, proof that intervention is happening for you. Chosen one, you have recently felt an unexplained urge to reconsider something you were about to do, say, or agree to. That hesitation was not weakness. It was intuition strengthened by divine protection. There is a situation ahead that looks harmless on the surface, yet it carries consequences that stretch far beyond what your mind has calculated. This is why slowing down right now is not delay. It is defense. Precious listener, understand this clearly. Not every threat announces itself loudly. Some arise softly through misplaced trust, rushed decisions, or silence where clarity was needed. You are being warned because your life has reached a sensitive junction. A single step taken without awareness could redirect your path into unnecessary struggle. That is why clarity is being given before momentum carries you too far. Chosen one, you have recently felt an unexplained urge to reconsider something you were about to do, say, or agree to. That hesitation was not weakness. It was intuition strengthened by divine protection. There is a situation ahead that looks harmless on the surface, yet it carries consequences that stretch far beyond what your mind has calculated. This is why slowing down right now is not delay. It is defense. Precious listener, understand this clearly. Not every threat announces itself loudly. Some arise softly through misplaced trust, rushed decisions, or silence where clarity was needed. You are being warned because your life has reached a sensitive junction. A single step taken without awareness could redirect your path into unnecessary struggle. That is why clarity is being given before momentum carries you too far. Dear one, you may feel an internal resistance as you hear this, a part of you wanting reassurance without responsibility. But protection works with cooperation. Awareness is the shield. Discernment is the sword. Ignoring what feels uncomfortable does not remove the danger. It only removes your ability to respond wisely. What you face is not meant to overpower you, but it will test your attention. Faithful heart, there is a pattern repeating around you that you believed had already ended. It has returned quietly, wearing a different form. What once caused confusion is attempting another entry point into your life. This time, however, you are not unaware. This time, you are being shown the pattern before it completes itself. Recognition breaks cycles faster than resistance ever could. Dear soul, timing matters more than effort in moments like this. Acting too fast creates damage. Acting too late creates regret. This warning sits precisely in the middle where wisdom lives. There are conversations you must postpone, commitments you must reevaluate, and influences you must limit, even if doing so feels inconvenient. Convenience has cost many people peace. You are being offered another option. Chosen listener, there is also something beautiful hidden within this alert. The reason such protection surrounds you is because what lies ahead after this obstacle is meaningful. Loss often precedes warnings, but warnings precede preservation. Something valuable in your life is being guarded right now, even if you cannot yet see what it is. Beloved, your spirit has grown sharper through past challenges. That is why you sensed unease before your environment showed signs. Growth brings responsibility. You are no longer meant to move blindly. You are meant to move deliberately. The power to stop what is approaching does not lie in fear, but in conscious choice. Sacred soul, pay attention to where your energy has been draining lately. That is the area where correction is required. Tragedy does not always mean destruction. Sometimes it means prolonged struggle that could have been avoided. The warning is not about panic. It is about preservation of peace, stability, and purpose. Dear one, you are not alone in this moment. Guidance surrounds you, but guidance requires listening. This message is not meant to end here. There are still specific realizations ahead that will help you navigate what is forming. Remain attentive. Remain open. The next part reveals what must be adjusted before events begin to accelerate. There is a reason your thoughts have been restless lately, even during moments that should have felt calm. That unrest is not confusion. It is awareness forming. Something in your environment has been misaligned, and your inner senses noticed before logic caught up. This message reaches you now because awareness has matured enough to be trusted. What approaches does not arrive suddenly. It advances through small permissions. Removing those permissions is how it loses power. You are standing near a decision that seems ordinary, yet its impact stretches further than expected. Many people stumble not because they choose wrongly on purpose, but because they underestimate how small choices compound over time. What is being revealed now allows you to interrupt that chain before it strengthens. This interruption is mercy. It is not delay meant to frustrate you. It is timing meant to protect your future stability. Pay attention to the subtle shifts around you. A change in tone from someone close. A recurring inconvenience that feels out of place. A sense of pressure to rush when patience would normally guide you. These are not coincidences. When urgency appears without clarity, it is often a sign to pause rather than push forward. Wisdom speaks quietly, but it speaks early. There is also something important you must understand. Not everything that feels familiar is safe, and not everything that feels uncomfortable is harmful. Growth often demands separation from what once felt secure. You are being asked to reevaluate where you place trust, time, and emotional energy. Misplaced loyalty can open doors that should remain closed. Awareness closes them gently before force becomes necessary. What lies ahead for you holds potential that requires protection. That is why this moment carries weight. When something valuable is forming, resistance appears. It may come through distraction, doubt, or misplaced priorities. None of these are stronger than discernment. Discernment allows you to see without reacting, to choose without fear, and to move without regret. There is no need to panic. Panic clouds judgment. Calm observation sharpens it. The situation you are being warned about loses strength the moment you refuse to act blindly. Stillness in this moment is not weakness. It is strategic restraint. Many outcomes are decided not by action, but by refusal to act prematurely. You may notice that certain paths suddenly feel heavy, while others feel lighter even if they require patience. This contrast is guidance. Heaviness often signals resistance, while lightness signals alignment. Do not confuse difficulty with danger. Sometimes difficulty refines you, but when heaviness drains clarity rather than builds strength, it is time to reconsider direction. This message is not meant to isolate you or make you suspicious of everyone. It is meant to refine your discernment so you no longer move on assumption alone. Clarity protects relationships, finances, health, and peace. Ignoring intuition costs far more than adjusting plans ever will. There is no need to panic. Panic clouds judgment. Calm observation sharpens it. The situation you are being warned about loses strength the moment you refuse to act blindly. Stillness in this moment is not weakness. It is strategic restraint. Many outcomes are decided not by action, but by refusal to act prematurely. You may notice that certain paths suddenly feel heavy, while others feel lighter, even if they require patience. This contrast is guidance. Heaviness often signals resistance, while lightness signals alignment. Do not confuse difficulty with danger. Sometimes difficulty refines you. But when heaviness drains clarity rather than builds strength, it is time to reconsider direction. This message is not meant to isolate you or make you suspicious of everyone. It is meant to refine your discernment so you no longer move on assumption alone. Clarity protects relationships, finances, health, and peace. Ignoring intuition costs far more than adjusting plans ever will. What you do next does not require dramatic changes. It requires awareness woven into everyday choices. Speak less where silence brings understanding. Delay commitments that demand immediate answers. Observe patterns instead of reacting to single events. These small adjustments shift outcomes more powerful than force ever could. Remain present, as the unfolding ahead can still be redirected. Protection is active. Guidance is near. What matters now is attentiveness. The next realization will help you recognize exactly where correction is needed before momentum increases. What unfolds next depends less on fate and more on perception. Many outcomes are shaped quietly by what people fail to notice rather than by what they confront directly. You are being asked to notice, not to analyze obsessively, not to accuse or fear, but to observe with clarity. When awareness enters a situation, it changes the direction of events without resistance. This is how protection works at its highest level. There is an influence around you that thrives on momentum. It grows stronger when things move quickly and weakens when reflection slows the pace. That is why everything recently has felt rushed, as if decisions needed to be made immediately without space to think. This pressure is not guidance. True guidance never forces urgency without understanding. Choosing patience right now removes leverage from what seeks control. Your life has reached a point where what once worked no longer offers safety. Familiar solutions cannot solve emerging challenges. This does not mean something is wrong with you. It means you are evolving. Growth requires sharper awareness, not harder effort. The habits, routines, and agreements that carried you this far may not carry you forward. Recognizing this early prevents loss later. There is also a lesson here about silence. Not every truth needs immediate expression. Some insights are meant to be held quietly until timing supports their release. Speaking too soon can escalate situations unnecessarily. Waiting allows information to settle and reveals what is genuine versus what is reactive. Discernment protects not only outcomes, but dignity. You may find yourself reconsidering who truly has access to your thoughts, plans, and vulnerabilities. This reassessment is healthy. Transparency should be earned, not automatic. What you protect now preserves your strength later. Energy given carelessly becomes a liability. Energy directed wisely becomes a foundation. Notice where repetition has appeared in your life recently. Repeated delays, repeated misunderstandings, and repeated emotional drain. These cycles do not exist to punish you. They exist to signal where change is overdue. When patterns repeat, it is because awareness has not yet been applied. Once awareness arrives, cycles break naturally. There is something significant ahead that requires you to be steady, not scattered. Focus is your ally. Distraction is the gateway through which complications enter. Simplifying choices right now strengthens your position. Complexity weakens judgment. Choose what is clear over what is impressive. Choose what is calm over what is exciting. What approaches you does not define your future unless you allow it to. Awareness changes trajectories. You are not powerless here. You are positioned precisely where prevention is possible. This is not coincidence. Timing has aligned because you are ready to respond wisely rather than react emotionally. As you continue listening, let this understanding settle gently. There is nothing you need to chase or force. The adjustment required is internal before it becomes external. Once alignment shifts within you, circumstances respond accordingly. Remain attentive, The clarity forming now will guide you through what comes next with precision rather than struggle. When you are ready to go deeper, simply say, "Continue," and the message will unfold further without repetition, without urgency, and without any confusion. What you are being guided toward now is a deeper kind of attentiveness, the kind that listens beneath noise and recognizes meaning before events fully take shape. This is not about predicting outcomes or imagining worst-case scenarios. It is about staying present enough to notice when something feels subtly misaligned, even if it looks acceptable on the surface. When perception sharpens, many problems dissolve before they ever become real. You may soon encounter a moment where you are tempted to compromise clarity for comfort. It may arrive disguised as relief, convenience, or reassurance from someone else's confidence. That is where discernment matters most. My child, any comfort that requires you to silence what your spirit is sensing should never be treated as harmless. Peace that asks you to ignore warning signs is not true peace. Choosing awareness instead of easy relief may protect far more than a brief moment of calm ever could. There is also something important here about responsibility. Receiving a warning does not mean you are being loaded with fear. It means you are being trusted with truth before the situation fully reveals itself. Guidance comes to the one who has the capacity to hold what is real without breaking beneath it. You are not being given more than you can carry. You are being prepared because strength has already been formed within you. The fact that you can receive this message with steadiness shows that you have grown beyond the limits that once held you. Pay attention to timing more than appearance. Something may seem harmless on the surface simply because the result has not appeared yet. A delay in consequence does not mean there is no consequence at all. Many disturbances do not reveal themselves immediately. They move slowly, quietly, and only become obvious after they have gained enough space to affect what matters. This is why early awareness is such a gift. You are being placed ahead of the outcome, in the place where your choice still carries power. You may soon face a moment where comfort tries to pull you away from clarity. It may come looking like relief. It may sound reasonable, convenient, or calming because someone else speaks with confidence. But that is exactly where discernment must become stronger than emotion. Beloved, do not trade the truth you sense for the ease someone else offers. Comfort that asks you to dismiss your inner knowing is never neutral. Temporary peace can feel attractive, but awareness protects what comfort may quietly expose. And remember again, being warned is not the same as being burdened. It is a sign that heaven trusts you to respond with maturity. You are not being shaken by this truth because you are not the same person you once were. Your calmness is evidence of growth. Your ability to listen without panic is proof that your spirit has been strengthened for this moment. So look beyond appearances. Watch the timing. Notice what repeats. Pay attention to what feels delayed but not resolved. Delay does not mean absence. What has not surfaced yet may still be moving beneath the visible parts of your life. You are being allowed to recognize it before it becomes harder to change. That position is mercy. That position is protection. That position is power. You may also feel the urge to explain what you sense, to defend your choices, or to convince others to understand why you are moving differently. Resist that urge. Not everyone needs to enter the place where your discernment was formed, and not everyone deserves access to the clarity heaven has given you. Some realizations are meant to guide action quietly, rather than become conversation. Silence, when chosen consciously, preserves momentum and prevents unnecessary resistance. As this message continues, allow it to refine your focus rather than scatter it. Notice what feels steady as you listen. That steadiness is alignment. When alignment is present, confusion fades naturally. You do not need to force certainty. It arrives on its own when awareness settles. What lies ahead can still unfold smoothly. This warning is not a prediction of loss. It is an invitation to move wisely. Wisdom does not rush. Wisdom notices, and wisdom adjusts gently and early. That is what is being offered to you now. Stay present. There is more clarity ahead, and it will arrive exactly when your attention is ready to receive it. If you want the message to continue unfolding, say, "Continue," and it will carry on seamlessly, without repetition, without pressure, and without distraction. As you remain here, let your attention soften rather than strain because of understanding. There are moments when insight does not arrive as a sudden realization, but as a gradual settling, like dust clearing after movement stops. This settling is happening now. It allows you to see relationships, choices, and directions with a steadier perspective, one that does not depend on emotion to guide judgment. Soon you may find that something you once considered urgent loses its grip on you. This shift is intentional. Urgency often disguises uncertainty, while clarity brings patience. When pressure fades, truth becomes easier to recognize. That is why slowing down internally is essential at this stage. What no longer feels rushed no longer controls you. There is an invitation here to strengthen boundaries, not as walls, but as filters. Filters allow what nourishes to pass through while keeping what drains at a distance. Boundaries are not rejection. They are discernment in action. Applying them now preserves energy that will be needed for what lies ahead. Preservation is as important as progress. You might notice that certain thoughts no longer feel convincing, even if they once guided your behavior. This is growth revealing outdated narratives. Let them fall away without argument. You do not need to fight beliefs that no longer fit. Simply releasing them creates space for wiser responses to emerge. Attention also brings responsibility for self-care. Fatigue dulls perception, and overextension weakens judgment. Rest is not avoidance, it is preparation. Choosing restoration now ensures that when decisions require strength, you will meet them fully present rather than depleted. As this guidance continues, remember that awareness works quietly. It does not demand recognition or approval. It simply adjusts direction until outcomes align differently. What you change internally shifts external circumstances without struggle. Remain with this calm focus. The path ahead becomes clearer as noise recedes. When you are ready to continue deeper into this unfolding understanding, say, "Continue," and the message will proceed smoothly, maintaining clarity, freshness, and depth without repetition. What becomes clear as you stay present is that guidance rarely pushes. It aligns. Alignment feels quieter than urgency, steadier than excitement, and stronger than fear. When you sense that quiet strength returning, trust it. It signals that confusion is loosening its hold and that direction is reorganizing itself around wisdom rather than impulse. This is how outcomes shift before events demand correction. There will be a moment when you recognize an option you are about to accept no longer fits who you are becoming. This recognition is subtle yet decisive. Declining what no longer aligns is not lost. It is precision. Precision concerts effort and prevents entanglement. When you choose with discernment, consequences soften because resistance never gains. You may notice distance forming naturally between you and influences that once felt dominant. This separation does not require confrontation. It happens as attention redirects. Where attention goes, energy follows. Where energy withdraws, control dissolves. This is not avoidance. It is sovereignty returning to its rightful place. As awareness continues to deepen, patterns that once felt confusing begin to make sense. The sequence of delays, interruptions, and redirections were not obstacles. They were calibrations. Each pause adjusted your position so this warning could reach you, while change remained possible. Timing has been precise, not accidental. Clarity also brings restraint. You may feel less compelled to prove, explain, or persuade. Restraint preserves momentum. When certainty is internal, validation becomes unnecessary. This inner steadiness prevents unnecessary conflicts and keeps your focus intact as conditions shift around you. There is value now in choosing simplicity. Complicated arrangements invite misinterpretation and error. Simple actions guided by awareness creates stability. Reduce what feels excessive. Streamline what feels scattered. Simplicity strengthens perception and sharpens response. You may notice distance forming naturally between you and influences that once felt dominant. This separation does not require confrontation. It happens as attention redirects. Where attention goes, energy follows. Where energy withdraws, control dissolves. This is not avoidance. It is sovereignty returning to its rightful place. As awareness continues to deepen, patterns that once felt confusing begin to make sense. The sequence of delays, interruptions, and redirections were not obstacles. They were calibrations. Each pause adjusted your position so this warning could reach you while change remained possible. Timing has been precise, not accidental. Clarity also brings restraint. You may feel less compelled to prove, explain, or persuade. Restraint preserves momentum. When certainty is internal, validation becomes unnecessary. This inner steadiness prevents unnecessary conflicts and keeps your focus intact as conditions shift around you. There is value now in choosing simplicity. Complicated arrangements invite misinterpretation and error. Simple actions guided by awareness create stability. Reduce what feels excessive. Streamline what feels scattered. Simplicity strengthens perception and sharpens response. Remember that protection often works invisibly. You may never see what was diverted or delayed. That does not reduce its significance. Many dangers lose form when awareness enters early enough. The essence of harm is not proof of inaction. It is proof of effectiveness. Stay grounded in this attentiveness. The next phase unfolds with clarity rather than force. If you wish to continue, say continue, and the message will carry forward with fresh language, sustained depth, and an uninterrupted flow. As perception steadies, you may begin to notice how different your responses feel compared to the past. Situations that once pulled immediate reaction now invite observation instead. This change is subtle but powerful. Observation creates space, and space creates choice. Choices are where outcomes transform. You are no longer being carried forward by momentum alone. You are steering. This shift marks maturity of awareness, where reaction gives way to intention. There will be an opportunity soon to pause where you once would have pushed forward. That pause is not hesitation. It is discernment asserting itself. Within that pause lies the ability to redirect energy toward what truly supports your well-being. When you stop feeding what drains you, it weakens naturally. This is not resistance. It is redirection, and redirection reshapes paths quietly but decisively. You may also sense relief emerging without obvious cause. That relief is alignment returning. When inner direction matches outer movement, tension releases. This is a sign that the adjustment is already working. Trust this process. It does not require constant monitoring or force. Awareness, once established, maintains itself through steady attention. There is strength now in choosing presence over projection. Imagining future outcomes without clarity can scatter focus. Staying grounded in the present moment sharpens perception and stabilizes judgment. Each present choice compounds into future stability more reliably than speculation ever could. As understanding deepens, allow yourself patience. Integration takes time. Insights settle gradually, reshaping habits and expectations. There is no need to rush integration. What has been recognized will continue guiding you, even when attention shifts elsewhere. Remain steady. The unfolding ahead responds to calm awareness rather than urgency. If you wish to continue further, say "continue," and the message will progress seamlessly with renewed language, depth, and clarity. As you move forward with this steady awareness, you may realize that certain concerns no longer occupy as much space in your thoughts. This release is not denial. It is discernment refining focus. When attention is no longer scattered across imagined threats or unnecessary obligations, clarity strengthens naturally. You begin to see what truly requires care, and what was merely noise demanding energy without purpose. There will be moments when restraint feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, because you are accustomed to responding quickly. Yet restraint now becomes a source of strength. It allows you to gather information fully before acting. It allows circumstances to reveal themselves without pressure. Many mistakes are avoided not by better action, but by better timing. Timing grows clearer when patience replaces impulse. You may notice that certain connections shift subtly. Some interactions feel lighter as understanding increases, while others fade without conflict. This is alignment at work. Relationships and commitments that support growth remain. Those that drain clarity loosen their hold. This separation does not require judgment. It occurs naturally when awareness guides boundaries. Your inner dialogue may also change. Questions replace assumptions. Curiosity replaces anxiety. This shift matters. When you ask rather than assume, you remain open to correction and insight. Openness prevents stagnation and keeps perception flexible. Flexibility is essential when navigating change without unnecessary struggle. As calm steadiness settles in, decision-making becomes simpler. You no longer need to weigh every option excessively. What aligns feels clear. What distracts loses its appeal. This simplicity is not lack of depth. It is refinement. Refined focus conserves strength and sharpens response. Carry this attentiveness gently. There is no need to hold it tightly. Awareness maintained with ease lasts longer than vigilance maintained through tension. Let understanding guide you quietly as you move through what comes next. When you are ready to continue further into this unfolding clarity, say, "Continue," and the message will proceed with fresh expression, sustained depth, and uninterrupted flow. What continues to unfold now is a quieter confidence, one that does not announce itself yet influences every movement you make. This confidence is born from understanding rather than certainty, from awareness rather than control. You begin to trust your ability to notice what matters without forcing outcomes. Trust like this stabilizes decisions and prevents unnecessary detours that once felt unavoidable. You may find yourself less drawn to urgency created by others. External pressure loses its authority when internal clarity strengthens. When you stop borrowing direction from outside noise, you reclaim authorship over your path. This authorship does not require isolation. It requires discernment. You choose where influence centers and where it stops. There is also a refinement happening in how you interpret discomfort. Instead of reacting to it as danger, you recognize it as information. Information informs choice. Choice reshapes direction. This shift transforms challenges into signals rather than threats. When discomfort becomes informative rather than alarming, it loses its power to destabilize you. As perception continues to mature, you will notice how little effort is needed to maintain alignment once it is established. You do not need constant reminders. Awareness becomes integrated, guiding behavior naturally. This integration is the goal. It allows you to move forward without constantly looking back or second-guessing decisions already made with clarity. You are learning to value steadiness over intensity. Intensity burns quickly. Steadiness sustains. Sustained awareness protects long-term outcomes more effectively than brief moments of heightened focus. This steadiness ensures that even when attention shifts temporarily, understanding remains. Allow this process to continue without interruption. There is no finish line to rush toward. Awareness evolves alongside experience, adjusting gently as circumstances change. What matters is not perfection, but presence. If you wish to continue exploring this unfolding guidance further, say, "Continue," and the message will carry on seamlessly, maintaining freshness, depth, and uninterrupted flow. As this awareness deepens, you may begin to notice how your environment responds differently to your presence. Situations that once felt chaotic start arranging themselves with less resistance. This is not because circumstances have suddenly become kinder, but because your perception has become clearer. Clear perception removes unnecessary struggle. When you stop fighting what needs understanding, events lose their ability to overwhelm you. There is a quiet recalibration happening within you. Priorities are rearranging themselves without effort. What once demanded attention now fades into the background, while what truly matters becomes unmistakable. This shift is subtle, yet it changes everything. Life begins to feel less like a series of reactions and more like a deliberate movement guided by clear insight rather than urgency. You may encounter moments where others expect you to respond as you once did. Their expectations do not define your responsibility. Growth can unsettle those who only remember who you used to be. You are not responsible for explaining every layer of your becoming. The steadiness of your awareness will speak with more truth than any defense or justification could. This season also sharpens your discernment around timing. You begin to know when to move closer and when to step away. To engage before readiness can drain your strength, while stepping back without understanding can leave you still and unmoving. Balance begins to form when your awareness naturally guides the moment. This balance protects your energy and keeps your focus available for what genuinely needs your attention. You may begin to notice that things improve even when you are no longer pushing as hard. This is what alignment does. When your direction and intention are moving together, resistance begins to dissolve. Actions born from clarity carry a deeper force than actions driven by pressure. This kind of ease is not avoidance. It is wisdom being used in the right place at the right time. As this calm steadiness grows within you, your inner voice becomes less crowded. Overthinking begins to quiet, and silence takes its place. In that silence, intuition becomes easier to hear. Intuition rarely arrives loudly. It comes as a gentle prompting, a quiet knowing, a subtle movement within you. And the more the noise settles, the more clearly those promptings can be recognized. Listening begins to feel natural. Trust in your ability to move through uncertainty also becomes stronger. Uncertainty no longer feels like a threat because your awareness gives you the ability to respond with calm instead of reacting from fear. You do not need every answer before you take the next step. You need presence where you are. Presence can adjust in ways prediction never could. This guidance unfolding within you is not asking you to separate yourself from life. It is asking you to meet life with greater consciousness. When you engage consciously, you avoid unnecessary entanglements and protect the momentum that has been building. You move forward without carrying old, unresolved weight behind you. Let this understanding continue to settle gently inside you. There is no need to hurry toward completion. Awareness grows through lived experience, not through force.